So a couple years ago, I was working with an organization known as the National Security Alliance, and they had a program called KidSafe. And I went through the process of becoming a registered agent with them. And basically, the job of the registered agent was to work with the local community, working with kids, families, and educating them on some of the most common lures that were being used in child abductions. And so as we did these seminars with the local community, what we found was that parents were actually pretty good at educating their kids on stranger danger, right? And the kids kind of knew not to take candy or not to get in a stranger's car or not to give them information about a classmate or things like that. That was all pretty standard. And so what started to happen actually was that kids got really knowledgeable about that. And so these predators, the perpetrators of these abductions, realized that they had to get a new strategy. And so what they came up with was the idea that they needed to find a way to not become a stranger and kind of gain a child's confidence, and then their lure abduction would be much, much easier and more effective. And so what they came up with was what we call the familiarity lure. And how that works is basically you have the perpetrator of the familiarity lure kind of insinuates themselves into the child's daily routine or weekly routine. And I'll give you an example. So let's just say your child walks to and from school, okay, or they are at a bus stop every day getting picked up from school at that stop, and it's, I don't know, up the street from the house. Basically what the potential abductor would do is they just kind of put themselves on that route. And they might be there just walking their dog, and for the first week or two, they're just there. They don't talk to the child, they're just on that route walking their dog. And so the child becomes familiar with seeing that person, right? And that person hasn't said anything to them or done anything bad, so, right away, when they see them, they're not alarmed. Another week or two goes by. Now what happens is, maybe there's just a hello. So as Johnny's walking to school, perpetrator of the familiarity lure just says, "Hi." Johnny says hello, and that's it. That was fine, right? Didn't try to, offer him anything, didn't try to get him to get into his car. So once again, no problems there. Another week or so goes by, now maybe just a brief interaction, "Oh, I dropped my keys. Do you think you'd grab those for me? Thanks. Hey, by the way, I'm Mr. Smith. I live in that house over there. What was your name?" "Oh, my name's Johnny." "Okay, thanks, Johnny. See you around." And so what happens now is that the perpetrator of this is now sort of gaining that child's trust, and the child isn't alarmed by his presence, and that now opens the door for one of the more standard kind of lures or abduction tactics. So it's good to kind of sometimes refresh with your kids, especially if we haven't talked about it in a while, right? You say, "Hey, Johnny, I know we haven't talked about, kind of strangers in a while. You know not to talk to strangers and all that, I know that. But hey, if this ever happens where someone's just kind of talking to you or they're just kind of around, you need to be aware of that as well, right? Understand that's still a stranger and you still need to treat them with caution. And, this way they know what to do in a situation like that." So again, that's the familiarity lure. And at the bottom of this video, where the text is, there's also a list of 10 of the other most common lures that you'll encounter and you may want to educate your kids on. So hope this has been helpful, and thanks for tuning in.